Hello one and all, welcome to the channel, Gavax Man Spins. So today's video is yet another tag and another thread. It has been the month of threads, hasn't it? So this one's not controversial at all, which is nice, and this is the CD tag. Hence we've reversed the camera to look at the CD wall behind me. This was set by Glenn, who's still down in his basement in America, and there's 15 questions all around the CD kind of format. So there is no vinyl on show today, so this is a CD community post, but I'm sure people in the vinyl community might tag along too. I'll go through the questions and take it from there. The first question is, when did you first buy a CD player? So I am one of those people like Brian the embryonic robot who had a CD before a CD player. And I have done a completely separate video about my first CD purchase, so go to my channel, have a look at that one. I bought my first CD player in 1989 I'd been employed and I was on probation to start with, and once I'd done the 3-month probation period and your job became permanent, I treated myself to a nice Pioneer all black all-in-one system. Actually, it wasn't quite all-in-one. The CD player was separate, so was the record deck, but I think the tape and the amp were all in one. And it was a six disc multiplayer with a nice graphic equalizer that was a digital that moved about. My mate had got the slightly older model, when I kind of was impressed by his lovely shiny CDs and how they sounded, and I went off and on HP over 3 months bought my first CD system, and sadly my record player eventually bit the dust for a few years and I went all in on CD. So 1989, Christmas 1989, I remember it well. So obviously I bought my first CD player. I'd already got a CD. You have to go and check my channel for that one. But I then, the very next day, went off and bought some CDs. And I think the only one that survived is the one I'm about to show you, because the other two I eventually bought the remasters of and got rid of the original CD. Now, certain forums will have you believe that's the worst thing I could have ever done, and it's something I don't do now. If I do upgrade a CD copy, I do keep both, because sometimes the new version isn't as good as the old. So until I've lived with it a bit, I kind of keep the old one as well. I don't do it as much now, but I certainly went through a stage of buying remasters, and some are good, some are bad. More of that later. So the first CD I actually bought to go with my brand new shiny 6-disc multiplayer, and it's an absolutely brilliant album. So by Peter Gabriel. The curse of doing CD videos is camera glare because of these lovely shiny jewel cases. But that one is my original from Christmas 1989 from Mia Green Records and Tapes. That shop's long gone. Q Magazine did some sleeve notes for it, so I've took that inside, and the CD is still there, and the spider is still intact. So that, believe it or not, 1989. Crikey, Riley, how many years is that? That's 35 years, is it? Scary. So 35 years old. That's technically an antique, isn't it? So there you go. So Peter Gabriel, brilliant album, and the CD version has a slightly rearranged track order, doesn't it? Or does it? Can't remember. I think it's got an extra track, but there you go. So I've got that on vinyl. Yeah, first CD was that one. I did do the 10 CDs I'd like to get on vinyl thread, and one of my subscribers, hello Alfie, made a very good point that he got slightly riled by the premise of that thread, saying, well, it implies therefore that CDs are the weaker format. And I hadn't really thought about that, so this is for you, Alfie. But yeah, sometimes the reason you want something that you've got on CD on vinyl is it might be completism, that you've got the rest of the catalogue on vinyl and you're just missing one, or sometimes it's just that that's the way you like to listen to your music these days. So I have to say I listen to CDs a lot, particularly if I'm doing other things. So if I'm thinking about doing a video and I'm writing notes and stuff, I'll put CDs on in the background because I don't have to keep getting up and changing them. So the CD format does have a lot of advantages. I've got another 6-disc auto changer now. I've got a nice Onkyo, Onkyo, I don't know how to pronounce that, one that's great. I've got a carousel thing, so I can load that up. And if I bought a CD box set, for instance, I can sit and do that. So I do love the CD format still, but there's something about the vinyl 12-inch size that I'm afraid it's hard to replicate on CDs, but you can get close. So more of that later. So my most recent CD purchase. Now, I don't buy anywhere near the numbers that I used to. I tend to buy a lot second hand, so for a couple of quid or £1. eBay's phenomenal for picking up cheap CDs, and charity shops as well. Particularly 80s and 90s stuff, because it's quite prolific in the cheaper sections. New CDs, I find I don't think I'm prepared to pay $14.99, $15.99 for a normal CD, which is sadly a lot of them, that's what they're being priced at now. So I think record companies got to be a little bit careful there, because when CDs first come out they were too expensive. There was that nice midpoint in the 90s where they were quite reasonable. Then there was that tax hole dodging where they were in the UK, they were set up offshore and you could get them online for like $7.99 and $8.99, and that actually really torpedoed a huge amount of record shops. And obviously then you've got the big conglomerates have come in, like Amazon and all those type of people. But once that tax loophole got shut down, CDs did go back up to $10.99, $11.99, which I think is fine for a new album, but I do kind of think $16.99, say, for a generic bog standard CD is too much. And yeah, now I've got that off my soapbox. What have I bought recently? So I bought two new, these are the most recent two, and this is a great point for why CDs have still got a place. So these were £8 each, and there are 10 albums on these two sets. So that's what I bought. So they are the original album classic series. So I bought the two Alice Cooper ones. They dropped, I think it might have been Black Friday, to £8 each, and I've been tracking those in my basket or want list or whatever they call it for probably 7 or 8 years. I missed out on the complete Alice Cooper CD box set, which goes for silly money now. Doesn't look like that'll ever get repressed, but I haven't got any Alice Cooper on CD, so this was a great way of doing it. I've got like a 4 CD box set, which was quite cheap, but it does skimp over, because it's cramming in a huge career. It skips a lot of these important albums out. I was particularly interested in the things like Killer and Skulls Out to see if they're actually as good as they cracked up to. Now, this was great. So I've listened to Volume 1 all the way through. I'm really pleased to bought this, because the first two albums are absolutely not that good. So if I now am looking and I see a vinyl copy of either of the first two Alice Cooper albums, I probably won't bother buying it. But there's a marked improvement once you hit Love It to Death. So there you go. Those are my latest two. How many CDs have I got? So I haven't managed to discog all of my CDs. I started on A's. I then moved music rooms round from the back of the house to the front, because the back of the house gets all the sun, and it meant I had a room that literally was in permanent darkness, because sunlight, vinyl, CDs, it fades the spines, it can warp things. So so instead of living like a vampire at the back of the house, I said, well, when lockdown happened, we'll move to the front. So we had you couldn't really go anywhere or do anything. So they needed decorating. So we took the decision to do a swap over. So I moved the music room from the back to the front. Now, this is a slightly smaller room, but it's a better room in terms of being able to organise things because of where windows are and stuff like that. So, to answer this question, I'm going about it the long way, am I? But there's probably, I reckon, 10,000, which is awful, isn't it, really, CDs knocking around. That could be box sets, CD singles, CDs. So I started on the A's, did the room to it, and then I thought, well, that's no problem, I'll start on the Z's. And then somewhere along the line, I've got a bit confused about where I am. So I've got to kind of put a bit of work in 2025 into finally getting my CDs on Discogs, and that's the same with the CD singles. I started with the A's and then got lost somewhere along the way. So In terms of collection, there's a load here. I've got a spinny thing over there, a spinny thing over there, and in the other room all the CD singles are in a couple of spinny things as well, so it's sprawling. And probably part of the reason why I don't buy so many CDs now is space has become an issue, which leads me very nicely to question 5. Do I prefer jewel cases or these kind of cardboardy kind of things? To be absolutely honest with you, I'm not that bothered. They both have their own drawbacks. Jewel cases, I've already shown you one that the spiders can kind of break, these things in the middle, and these cardboardy ones obviously can get quite battered, and that's why if you see them in charity shops, normally they're not worth buying because the cover's all ripped and torn. I particularly hate the cardboard ones where the CD's in the middle and you have to pull it out from the middle because it's really hard to do without ripping a CD. But there are a couple of things you can buy on the internet if you want to preserve your CD collection. These are readily available, big bag of them here for next to nothing, and these are little stick-on spiders. So if you've broken a jewel case and the spiders are damaged, you can pop them out, stick that one on. It's got like a sticky backing, put your CD in, and that stops the CDs rattling around. And for those horrible cardboard sleeves, to give them a longer life, you can buy these nice little plasticky things that seal up, and that preserves them forevermore. Sad but true, but that is a big help. And of course, the other thing you can do if you wanted to is buy those plasticky things where you throw away the jewel box and you keep everything else and kind of put it in plastic inserts. That's a massive space saver. I know Dave Atkinson's doing that at the moment. I can't quite bring myself to do that because I do quite like the old jewel case spines when they're all lined up. But I suppose, and I'm not buying CDs in the numbers that I used to, so I haven't really thought about doing that at the moment. And it might cost me a lot of money if there's 10,000 of the buggers to sort out. Right, let's show some box sets then. So your best of CD purchase of 2024, that was really easy. This one stayed in the auto changer for about 6 months. So I think I've showed this on another video actually, but this is the Vertigo Swirl Time Machine, a Vertigo retrospective. And I bought this because everyone bangs on about Vertigo Swirls. They're really expensive on vinyl. And I thought, well, I don't even know if I'll like half the music. But this is a great overview. So it's got bands like Colosseum, really good. One that really surprised me, Manfred Mann's Chapter 3. The track on here from that's superb. It's obviously got Sabbath on here. Bit of Rockin' Rod, Handbags and Glad Rags is on here. Gentle Giant, Dr. Z, Jade Warrior. So because of the track on here, I bought a couple of Jade Warrior CD box sets. Juicy Lucy, Uriah Heep, Magna Carta, and the one that really impressed me was Aphrodite's Child, which are the Four Horsemen. So when I heard that on here, when they reissued the album on vinyl, I picked it up because that song's so good. But it's actually really interesting listening. Even Status Quo turn up on there. So I'll show you in a bit of detail because last time I showed it, I kind of whizzed through it. So the nice Vertigo Swirl box set, you get a nice book. And then 3 CDs, so and there's a different band on each cover. Obviously starting with the Sabs. I'll show you the track listing there, so if you want to pause, there you go. So great set, and the booklet is really good. So booklets like that, and it's got actually it's white on the front, black on the back, which is some of the inner swirly sleeves swapped it round. But there's an A to Z kind of write-up on each band in there. And the best thing about that is I found that on eBay. It was new and sealed. It's quite an old box set. It came out in 2005, so it's nearly 20 years old, this. And I found a brand new one, still sealed, for £8.99, I think, delivered. There was not even any postage, so very pleased with that one. So that was my favourite CD box set of 2024. Next, show a live CD. So I've cheated a bit here. I'll show a live CD box set. So one of my favourite bands of the 80s, I saw them twice in the 80s. Prog rock giants, better than Genesis. Marillion, there you go. And this is at early stages, the live official bootleg box set 82 to 87. There is a part 2 which covers the Steve Hogarth eras. This is great because you get 6 CDs. And what I like about this, it goes year by year. So the first one is September 82. Then you get December 82 at the Marquee over 2 discs. Reading Festival 83. Hammersmith Odeon 84 on the Fugazi tour. It skips the What's It tour, the Misplaced Childhood tour for some reason, but it then catches up for November 1987 at Wembley Arena. So lovely set, and what's nice about that, nice little booklet, and then each CD has its own kind of unique cover art as well. So I'll show you the next one. So really good set. That was really reasonable when it came out, and I think that now goes for a bit of cash. So that will be my favourite live CD box set, just because I went to a couple of those tours and they were a great live band. Never the same once Fish left, in my opinion, but I'll be shot for that one right now. Anyhow, question 8. The best sounding CD. So CDs all sound pretty good to me, but there was definitely the initial CD issues were sometimes rushed a little bit in the rush to get them out. So the mastering was effective. It was vinyl mastering done for CD, so it didn't maybe show off the capability of the format, particularly around things like bass and stuff like that. And of course, CDs in the later years, they were then the dreaded brick walling kind of phenomenon, where they were mastered incredibly loudly to compete with, to help with earphones. So they didn't want them too quiet. I think the famous one is Oasis's first album, where the mastering of the CD was cranked up, so when it was put on in a pub jukebox, it kind of blared out the system. I think it kind of suited that music, but it doesn't work for everyone. So I've gone a long way around there saying what remasters were worth kind of buying compared to the originals. And the one that really, I remember buying it, and some are better than others, but the one that I thought, flipping hell, that's a massive upgrade. I had the original CDs when they came out, and then in, what year was this? 2009, 16 years ago. A chap from Canada started overseeing the reissue of his catalogue on CD, and he did something called the Official Release Series, and of course it's Neil Young. So now this was mad. When this came out, this was less than a tenner, and you got the first 4 albums on CD in a remastered kind of format on HD CDs, and these sound phenomenal. So the when I played the first album, Neil Young, and then I played Harvest, compared to my original CDs, these just blew it out of the water. And I was hoping that, I bought this for tenner, that all of the subsequent Official Release Series CDs would kind of follow suit. But so the first one was a tenner, the subsequent volumes were 30, 40, 50 quid, so I've never bothered buying any more, because I've got the original CDs, I've got them on vinyl, and I thought so. But if they'd have carried on doing them at that price point, I'd have been carrying on. But great series, lovely cover as well, isn't it? But I do like a bit on Neil Young, and that's got 3 great albums on it, including Everybody Knows This Is Nowhere. But they sound phenomenal. Right, question 9, a favourite cover. I mean, there's millions, but what I like about the one I'm going to show you is it took the CD format and did something a little bit different with it. So I don't know how well the camera will pick this up, but this is the super duper original kind of spotty CD version of the Pet Shop Boys Very. It's not one of my favourite Pet Shop Boys albums. This is probably the point where they finished that kind of golden run of brilliant albums, but it's all right. But the orange CD, none more orange, nice plastic, but they did that like embossing on the cover, and I thought that was really cool, and it's something that nobody ever really did ever since, really. But that was good. So that's a rare and skewed. I don't know, probably worth £1, but there you go. Right, what have we got next? Your favourite CD box set. So I haven't watched many of these videos. I think I've seen Morton over in Norway do one. Hi Morton. And who else did I see? I've seen one more, but Can't remember who it was now actually, but so I'm hoping I've not shown. So I've tried to show something that somebody else hasn't shown. So Morton nicked my Clash box set, which is very cool. But I don't know if anyone's got this one. So this is Jane's Addiction, a Cabinet of Curiosities. So there's a little hype sticker. And it's got a little thing on the back with what's on it. So I'll show you that. But this is a brilliant CD. So I'm going to have to shuffle in closer. So it's got a little hinge thing. Hold on. There you go. It's a little hingy thing. And you open it up like so. There you go. And it's got doors on it. And it is literally a cabinet that opens and closes. And it's got CDs in there and little things and all kinds of stuff. So I'm not about to get all that out because once I get it out, I can't get it back in, basically. I don't know why that one's not sticking out now. So yeah, so it's very, very cool. Good music as well. It's like a compilation of all kinds of stuff. I could do with listening to that again. So you got 3 CDs and then I think a DVD, which has got all the music videos and stuff like that. But it's got demos, outtakes, but live stuff. But Cabinet of Curiosities, Jane's Addiction, one of my favourite box sets. That's a nice one to have. Right. CDs by your favourite bands. So, if you've watched my channel before, you'll know I'm a big Smiths fan. So, the Smiths posthumously did a best of, and in America they had lovely Morrissey sleeves. So, Smiths Best 1 and Best 2, and that's an actor, I think, from a James Dean film, whose name I can't remember now. Richard Davalos, something, I can't remember it yet, but it's East of Eden's the film. So bit of Morrissey. That's the American versions, which were done by Morrissey. Lovely kind of covers. In the UK, we got totally different covers from Dennis Hopper. I don't know if it was the actor Dennis Hopper. Yeah, so we had a lady there, and it doesn't really kind of make sense in the Smiths world, and then a chap over here. So Smith Best 1, Best 2. So a bit different to the Americans, but I was very pleased at one point, and I bought this to get those basically, because it came in a nice little slipcase, which actually, when you then get that all together, that's the complete picture, isn't it? So that's the two kind of separate covers, and just for the sado in me, it was numbered as well. So the Smiths Best, nice little CD comp, and on vinyl I've managed to get Best 1, never spotted Best 2, so that's one of my vinyl ones, sorry Alfie, that I wouldn't mind trying to get hold of. Right, who have you got the most CDs by? I would imagine it would be another 80s band, because I've got all of the original CDs, I've got the box sets, I've got probably the one that bumps the numbers up is all the CD singles. But in the obviously in the dark days of the 80s, I've also got all of these on 7-inch, 12-inch and vinyl. And to get CD singles in like 1990 by 80s bands was quite hard because they just weren't being pressed. But when I was in HMV one day, I saw this wonderful box set by U2. Don't know if that'll pick that up. Called the Singles Collection, 1981 to 1989, and that's what it's got on it. And it kind of opens up like so. Now I'm going to do it on an angle so they don't all fall out. So it opens like that, and again it was a numbered edition of that's number 258. Now, when I put this on Discogs and you put the whole box in, it kept disappearing, and this is why. Because the CDs are official, and these are proper German kind of CD singles, which you could buy separately. The box, though, was unofficial. So some enterprising chap in Germany put the box together and made a bit of a killing. I bought this from HMV in the UK, an import, and it was only many, many years later I discovered that it's not classed as an official release, but for donkey's years, this was the only way to get those fabulous B-sides from the 80s on a digital format. So, and in particular, the 3 singles from the Joshua Tree have some brilliant B-sides. So Still Haven't Found has Spanish Eyes on it, great song. Where the Streets has the original version of Sweetest Thing, which was a B-side, which they re-recorded years later. Silver and Gold, that's a great track, so you get the studio version of the band of that. And then With or Without You has Walk to the Water, such a good song, and Luminous Time, so really good. And the B-sides from that Rattle and Hum era are really good as well. And the New Year's Day one has two great live tracks, Fire Through, Brick Through Window, and A Day Without Me, so 3 great live tracks. And Two Hearts one has a brilliant US version of New Year's Day, so and that's really good. It totally changes the dynamic of the song. Actually, all the singles of those are good. The Rattle and Hum singles are good as well. So there you go. So that would be my band that I've got the most of, because I've just literally quite completed with U2. I better get rattling on. This is a longer video than I thought. Do you collect both? Yeah, there you go. Last question. Now 2 questions to go. Have you ever sold CDs? Not really. No, sorry. Have you sold vinyl to buy CDs? No, but I did trade in some vinyl if I'd bought the CD. And what I used to do is I'd buy the CD, listen to it, and then put the vinyl to one side, and I had a little pile. And I used to go to Reddington's Rare Records in Birmingham. And they'd moved very much to the CD format, and because CDs were quite expensive then, I go, here's my pile of records, can I have some money for, some store credit for some CDs? I didn't get rid of lots, but the one that haunts me, I traded in my Led Zeppelin vinyl collection. Now a lot of it was bought secondhand and wasn't in the greatest condition, a couple of them were scratched, but I'm sure within that there was a Atlantic Plum Led Zepp 4. That's probably the one that haunts me to this day. But no, I didn't really sell my records. I kind of kept them and put them in boxes and eventually dug them back out. And then final question is, show a CD that you like the community's feedback on. So I'm going to go for a 90s band because this album's very... it could appeal to everyone or no one. So it's a 90s band that came along in 1996 with some singles. Did the first album in 97. I'm going to show you the second album. And it could be, it's a bit proggy. It's a bit rocky. It's a bit Britpopian. It's got a bit of everything really. And the brief when they were making this album is the main songwriter wanted to make an album a little bit like Prince's Parade, but like an indie rock version. And I think he managed to, in the making this album, kind of destroy the upward trajectory of the band. It torpedoed them in America, and I think it kind of did for the band and the relationship with the record company, because the band weren't happy with it, the record company weren't happy with it, and it didn't do that well, and it's a hard one to sell commercially as well. The singles from it, when you take them individually, are all absolutely brilliant, but the album as a whole is just nutso. So I'm talking Manson with the album 6. So this is the CD version, but this is the posh version that came out a couple of years ago, and you can get this quite reasonable, but it's got everything in this. It's got Tom Baker from Doctor Who on it. It's just, it's beyond description. Time changes, time signature. So fans of King Crimson might enjoy it, fans of Pink Floyd might enjoy it, or you might hate it. So if you haven't heard it, give it a whirl, tell me what you think. Last story, I upgraded my car stereo system just after this album came out, and I worked in Bordesley Green in Birmingham, and one of my customers did car audio, and whilst chatting to him, he said, well, drop your car in next week and I'll sort you out, I'll upgrade your hi-fi for you. It's predominantly Muslim Asian area, and these guys were I've got a cat. These guys were car audio enthusiasts, and they were into their bang room and stuff like that. So when they fitted this car stereo system in for me with these massive bass bins and all that, the only CD in the car was this one, and it started off with the Tom Baker interlude, which also has opera in it and all kinds of things. So it totally floxed them. And when he delivered the car, he said, mate, he said, I've sorted your stereo out, it sounds awesome, but I can't do anything about your musical taste. So they weren't impressed. So at that, I'll leave you there. Thanks for watching. Sorry that's gone on a little bit longer than I thought, but do love the CD era, and hopefully see you on the next one. Go back to my spins. Thank you very much. Oh, that bloody thing again here. So this is, if you ever watch my videos, I forget that I have to turn the button back on at this to stop the camera. So apologies, but eventually I'll get the hang of it. So go back to my spins. Thank you very much. Thanks for watching.